If it's more they want, it's more they'll get.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of what appears to be a little bit of a growing rivalry with Last Epoch and Path of Exile 2. Now I just finished a 3-day little mini vacation with my family, and during that vacation, and obviously now that I'm home, I came home to lots of messages. Hey, did you hear this? Hey, did you hear about what's going on? You're not going to believe it. Yes, of course, I heard about it. Path of Exile Grinding Gear Games announced the date of their update for POE 2 0.3. And it looks like Last Epoch POE 2 are gearing up for
Round 2, fight.
Now, I know what you're all thinking. Aaron's just drama farming. He's stoking the fires that aren't there. He's just trying to get all the clicks. This is unbelievably important, not only just for myself as a Last Epoch main, but as somebody that really enjoys this genre and wants to play every different isometric action RPG. It makes sense in the live service model that one drops, then the next one drops a month later, and so on and so forth. But it seems like there's no communication whatsoever, and it just feels like it hurts everybody. It's like months of nothing, and then we get a bunch of games at the same time. So anyways, we're going to talk about this. I'm going to give you the backstory, and then I will give you the news. We'll even hear from Jonathan himself, all right? So just follow me down the rabbit hole for a second. EHG for Season 2 reaches out to Grinding Gear Games. Jonathan Rogers openly admits this, that they reached out to them. They told him the date. This is Last Epoch told him the date that they thought, and they said there might be a conflict, but, you know, that was kind of the end of the conversation. There was a little bit of communication. Anyways, EHG February 27 releases the trailer for Tombs of the Erased, their highly anticipated Season 2, and this was coming April 2nd, all right? EHG reaches out to Grinding Gear Games, tells them the date that they're thinking. They release the trailer, and it is April 2nd. You then fast forward. Path of Exile Grinding Gear Games ends up delaying their Dawn of the Hunt update, and this ends up dropping on April 4th. So they reach out, they give them a date, EHG drops their trailer, Dawn of the Hunt unfortunately gets delayed a little bit, and they drop it on April 4th, which is 2 days after Last Epoch's highly anticipated 9.5-month season, which sucks. All right, you following me so far? Which leads Last Epoch, and this is where like the drama of last season really started cooking. This is a communication put out by Judd, the game director of 11th Hour Games, and I'll read it for you. We recently learned that our friends in the action RPG space have chosen a release date just a couple of days after ours, which would divide the player base and hinder the success of Season 2 launch. Last Epoch is still a smaller studio in the space. That looks towards each of these launches as a way to continue to sustain the studio financially and work on the things we are most passionate about. Now, if you're just reading this and you don't know any of the backstory or don't know the studios, it's like, okay, whatever. We recently learned that our friends, they literally use the word friends, have chosen. Our friends made a decision a couple days after us that would divide us. Our friends made a decision to divide the player base and hinder the financial success of our studio. It is with a heavy heart that we are forced. He literally used the word forced to move our release date for Season 2 to April 17th. Please help us spread the word. This is a pretty targeted communication from the great game director of Last Epoch. So, both games launch. GGG launches Dawn of the Hunt. And if you did not know, it ends up dropping to mostly negative, as low as a 33% on recent reviews. They did not pull back even close to the amount of players, pulls down their overall review score of POE 2 down to 72%. And as most people know, it was not a good release. Now, since then, they've released lots of hot fixes. They've done tons of podcasts. They've communicated. They are working on changes. This isn't like a beat up GGG. I'm just saying that their launch of Dawn of the Hunt, whether you love the game or hate it, was not successful. Okay. Last Epoch launches on April 17th with kind of the momentum of being Rudy, being the little guy. And they absolutely crush. They have a mostly positive review Steam score, and they almost pushed their reviews up to 80% mostly positive or very positive. Right now it's at mostly positive. They went from 71,000 players all the way to 151,000 players. They grew from season 1 to season 2 over double. I mean, it was a huge win for Last Epoch. Even on Steam's top sales, they had the game and their supporter pack, 2 products in the top 5 purchases for Steam. So they just absolutely killed it. Okay. So that's kind of the drama. If you understood everything I just said, this led to Jonathan Rogers in a podcast saying this.
In an age where people like to pit companies against each other, do you consider yourself competitors to Blizzard, Diablo 4, Last Epoch? Like, how do you view these other companies? Are you trying to beat them in player count? Or are you just existing and hoping that the game speaks for itself? How do you look at that?
I mean, I guess I don't really. It doesn't really bother me particularly that, like, you know, other companies, what they're releasing and that sort of stuff. Like, the only thing that ever matters is if, you know, like if something happens. A thing that is relevant is if something happens in the genre that like moves it forward in a way that we have to respond to, then that's something that we have to like deal with, right? Like that's a thing, for sure. But other than that, like, it's fine. Like, I mean, the nice thing about the genre is that it's not like World of Warcraft where, like, you know, you've got subscribers and you're competing for that. Like, that's an actual, like, real competition scenario where people aren't going to be really subscribed to more than one MMO. But in the seasonal model that we have with in action RPGs, it's kind of fine. Like, you know, you play the game, you know, for however long you play it for, you play another one, and then that's fine. Obviously, there was, like, the tension that happened with Last Epoch recently,
right?
Which was very unfortunate, and I honestly wish it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah, if you could just coordinate with them in the future and space it out, that'd be great.
I mean, yeah. The thing is,
are there back channels? So like, are there back channels between companies? With releases?
They messaged us about. Okay, so they asked me, like, okay, like, we're thinking of coming around this time. When are you thinking of coming out? And I'm kind of like, that actually might conflict with something. And that was kind of the last of it. There really wasn't anything else that was said there.
The alarm went off.
You know, so like, but the thing is, I think that what happened is that, like, so we had a date, and look, I don't know how they're thinking internally, but I think that their plan was to come out a little bit after that date. We didn't give them what the exact date was, but we kind of had said, like, in the community, like, you know, sort of, or like, people had sort of vaguely known when we were planning on coming out. And then we then got delayed, right? Like, we couldn't make our date, and there's, like, just nothing I can do about it. I can't come out any earlier, obviously, than what, you know, the time that we can come out, right? Like, it was just, it had got unavoidably delayed. And then it was, like, really unfortunate because I actually probably would have delayed an extra week to get out of their way. But we have Easter. We've got Easter,
right?
And then there's actually another public holiday the weekend after that, which means there's a 3-day week. And so when you have a 3-day week, everyone takes those 3 days off. Like, everyone is put in for time off during those 3 days, right? Like, that week is just dead. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And so what would have happened is if we'd delayed another week, then that week would have been right after our launch. Which obviously, if we'd just had the launch we just had and everyone was on holiday, that wouldn't have been.
Just to make sure I heard this properly, just to be clear, if those holidays weren't there, you would have moved POE 2 for Last Epoch?
I would have moved it a week, right? Not in a way that the players would have seen, right?
That's plenty of time. Yeah,
No, I would have moved it a week. I wouldn't have moved it 2 weeks. I wouldn't have moved it 2 weeks because
there's only so much you can, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But a week I would have moved. But yeah, we just couldn't move that week, unfortunately. And so then, and I felt real bad about it as well, because I was like, I don't want to do that to them, right? Like, I don't want to do, like, it's not something I want to do. But at the same time, if we were delaying 2 weeks and then the players, like, knew that, like, that would just be awful, right? Like, our players would have crucified us for that, and rightly so, right? That would have been terrible. So effectively, like, it just ended up that way. And like, I don't know whether or not it was a good idea for them to then move in response to that. Like, I honestly can't say whether or not that was right or wrong. But I certainly don't feel great about that happening, right? Not amazing. Like, I don't want to ruin their plans in any regard.
Yeah. To be blunt, though, it's very cool you're even thinking of that. I mean, we live in a day of kind of faceless corporations for a lot of games this size, so that's cool to know. Not only that you guys are talking, but even considering doing stuff like that. I think I speak for many of us when I say, just like you were saying earlier, we love Last Epoch and PoE 2. So in a perfect world, we'd love to be able to, like, you know, do both when they're all shiny and new. So it's great to know you guys are like talking. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I'm really hoping that doesn't happen again, because, you know, as I said, it was really unfortunate, and it really sucked that there was just that holiday thing that like blocked it. It's just like, yeah, it's just very unfortunate timing that happened there.
It'll happen. Every once in a while, it'll happen.
So now that you're fully caught up on the past, let's talk about the future and what is going on in August. And I probably should say I actually really like Jonathan Rogers' response for the most part. I like that he talks about how they communicated, how he felt bad, how he would have moved it if he could. But at the end of that, he says very clearly he hopes this will never happen again. So now let's talk August. 16 days ago, EHG drops their teaser trailer for Beneath Ancient Skies. This is their season 3, where we're going back to the ancient era, and this is coming on August 21st. If you haven't seen this little it's only like 15 seconds. Watch this.
Clever girl.
Without exaggeration, I think I've watched that Last Epoch teaser trailer 20 plus times. And every time I watch it, I get more hype for season 3. It is going to be awesome. Okay, the meat and potatoes of this entire video, we've gotten there. Content update timeline, Path of Exile 2 from Grinding Gear Games. And I love this first sentence they put in here because they've already communicated this. Major updates for Path of Exile 2 are released every 4 months. Since 02 was in April, that means the next one will be in August. And then the one after that will be in December. Hey, we're doing 2 months, PoE 1, PoE 2. That's just what we're doing, so get out of our way. Listen to this. Now for the update. 030 will release August 29th. It's a little later in the month than we hope, but this is a big update, and there were a few other constraints that we had to work around. We'll be announcing the content on release around 1 week beforehand. We look forward to showing you guys what we've been cooking up. This is brutal. Now, this is just me, little bit of a conspiracy theorist, okay? Just follow me for a second. They saw what happened when they released before Last Epoch, okay? Whether you think they noticed or not, I don't know. This is just me, maybe wishful thinking. They made the decision to go before LE. Well, I guess they didn't. They just made the decision to go after, but they saw the result of going before Last Epoch. They launched first. Wasn't a great launch. All that momentum carried to Last Epoch, and Last Epoch had an awesome season. And I think this time, since EHG already announced August 21st, they're like, okay, well, we can't go around August 21st, or it's just going to be literally history repeating itself. They've already dropped the date. Are we really going to drop third week of August and do the exact same thing? We were set up as the bad guys. There's no way we can do that. All right, so do we go earlier in the month? Well, we can't go earlier in the month because we saw the results of that. If we have another bad launch, people are going to immediately jump ship to Last Epoch. So what do? I truly believe it. They learned from their mistake. Hey, we're the bigger gorilla. We're the gorilla in the room. Like, we are going to go after, and we're going to put all the pressure on them and let them go first this time around. And this is so brutal because this is going to work. We will be announcing the content for the release around 1 week beforehand. Well, what is happening 1 week before the 29th? It is the actual season launch of Last Epoch. And what is Grinding Gear Games amazing at? Marketing. So they're going to drop their patch notes. They're going to drop their 2-hour live stream. They're going to drop their Q&A with Ziggy D. They're going to be doing all of their podcasts. And think about all the action RPG streamers. They're going to be doing all their theory crafting and patch notes and POB and getting ready for Path of Exile 2's update. And the question is, where does that leave Last Epoch? Now, obviously, I think Last Epoch makes an amazing product. I think they have a lot of momentum coming from Season 2 to Season 3. And I think a lot of those huge action RPG creators are going to check out the season. But the question is, for how long? So round 2, Last Epoch, Path of Exile 2 is coming at the end of August, and we're just going to have to see how that shakes out. Obviously, fingers crossed that both of them are good, both of them succeed, both games are awesome. I'm a true believer that a rising tide raises all ships, and I think the success of Diablo, Torchlight, Path of Exile, Last Epoch, Inquisitor, Martyr, Grim Dawn, all these games, Titan Quest, is just good for the genre, but them launching on top of each other just sucks, because I want to play both too. It just totally sucks. So that's the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know if you think anything that I theorized is correct. Do you think the 29th was a strategic date based upon Last Epoch's launch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Check out my brand new website, actionrpg.com. It continues to look better and have more functionality, more builds, leveling guides, more writers coming online. The site is starting to look really, really good. And don't forget to join the Discord, over 5,000 members. We do a game giveaway or merch giveaway every 2 weeks. We do all our subathon events there, movie night, game night, awesome place to hang out. I'm done. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.